This is a quick discussion of the distributive laws of sets and at the same time a demonstration of the application of the set operations union and intersection involving 3 or more sets. Let's try and recall the distributive property from our elementary days. Now we know, dalawang klase yan. Pwedeng the distributive property of multiplication over addition, pwede rin namang the distributive property of multiplication over subtraction. Okay, now, ang gagawin natin muna is let's try to solve 2 times the quantity 3 plus 4 using the PEMDAS rule or for some, the GEMDAS. Pareho lang naman yon. According to this rule, solve muna natin yung parenthesis. Or kung GEMDAS yan, solve mo muna yung grouping symbol. So let's try and do that. Copy first yung 2. And according to this rule, solve muna natin yung 3 plus 4. So doing that, yung 3 plus 4 is equal to 7. So, anong mangyari? 2 times 7 is 14. So by using the GEMDAS rule or PEMDAS rule, the answer to this is 14. Now, what is the distributive property telling us? This distributive property is telling us that if we have the same problem, instead of using PEMDAS, you can distribute 2. Meaning, multiply mo muna, then add, then multiply 2 times 4. Let's try and do that. So, 2 times 3, yan ang sinasabi sa atin ng distributive property. Then copy, plus 2 times 4. We now continue. Of course, we should multiply these 2 first before adding. Doing that, we have 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 times 4 is 8. In the end, we have 6 plus 8, 14, which is just equal to this one. So whether you use the distributive property or PEMDAS rule, kapag ganitong case, you will have the same answer. Now let's go to sets and apply this property. So we're given 3 sets A, B, and C. So with these elements, let's try to get the intersection of this group B union C with A and also the union of this group A intersection with B and A intersection with C. Now, to be able to get that, i-recall muna natin ang set operations union and intersection. Make sure you memorized when you say union, it means you combine. When you say intersection, it means kunin natin kung ano yung common. Okay, so let's try and start investigate. Let's say we are asked to get number 1. The very first thing that you should do is ilista nyo muna yung mga elements. For example, we want to write first the element A, the elements of set A. So doing that, we have... Okay. Next, get the intersection of this with this group. So let me write what are the elements of B. And then union with C. So, ang gagawin muna natin is parang GEMDAS or PEMDAS rule. So, let's try and solve this group first. Okay. So, what do you do with 1, 2, 3, 4? Tiyagain muna natin. Hintay-hintay muna siya. So, let me just copy. Kasi ito yung nasa group, siya muna yung uunahin natin. So, copy lang muna, tapat-tapat para walang makalimutan. Next, let's get the union of these 2 sets. Take note, to get the union of these 2 sets, what is our clue again? Our clue is union means we combine. Combining meaning pagsamahin. Pagsamahin si 3, 4, 5, 6, and 2, 7, 8. Take note, pag pinagsasama yan, kailangan arrange natin in increasing order para hindi tayo malito. So we should write 2 first. Okay. The union done. What do we do next? It's now time to get their intersection. So what's the clue na nga pag intersection? Intersection means common. So let's get the common elements of these 2 sets. Now looking at our sets, may common nga ba? 1, nako walang 1 doon. 2, okay, may 2 doon. Lista natin. We have 2. How about 3? Meron din. We have 3. And then, check natin, may 4 din ba? Yes. So these are the only common elements of these two sets. Therefore, we have these as the elements of A intersection with the group B union with C. Now, try natin ngayon yung pangalawa. Again, be very careful. Unahin muna natin itong mga grupo na to before getting the union. So let's try and write our elements. Don't forget the parentheses. That is A pa lang. And then, intersection. Yan yun. And then elements of B. So, A intersection B, ito yun. But then, you have to place parentheses. Then, copy, union. This time, let's get the intersection of these two sets. Ilista natin si A. Tsaga-tsaga lang. Then, intersection. Be careful. Intersection with C. What is C? Okay. So, we have copied the elements from the top papunta rito. And according to our rules, GEMDAS or PEMDAS rule, solve this first, solve this next, before getting their union kasi sila yung may grouping symbol. So carefully again, let's try and solve this. Intersection means common. May common elements ba dito? 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 is not common, 2 is not common, but 3 and 4 are. So ito, the elements are 3 and 4. So done. Okay na tayo sa common. Next, I'll copy this. And then this time, let's get yung intersection of these two. So, what do you mean by intersection again? Common. May common ba si 1, 2, 3, 4 at saka 2, 7, 8? 1 is not common. 2 is common. So, let me write that. We have 2. And then 3 is not common. 4 is not common. So, 2 lang ang common sa kanila. Kasi dyan may 2, dyan may 2. Wala nang iba. Finally, kaya na natin kunin yung union. What is the union? Buti na lang, may kodigo tayo. Union means you combine. So, combining 3, 4 and 2. Again, be careful para hindi ka malito. Unahin natin yung mas maliit. So, we write 2 and then 3 and then 4. Therefore, these are the elements of this set. Now, notice, sa number 1 and number 2, parehong-pareho yung elements natin. Now, if we try and investigate, and if you can recall your distributive property, parang ganito lang yan. Si A, i-distribute mo kay B, kaya A intersection with B. And the next, si A, i-distribute natin kay C, A intersection with C, as you can see. And then get the union of those two. Wow, related pala yun, ano? So that's our first rule doon sa ating set operations, the distributive law. So, we have our next example. Actually, we are trying to use the very same sets, A, B, and C from the previous para hindi na tayo malito. Now, what you want to do is get the union of A with this group B intersection with C. And later, get the intersection of these two groups. Okay, again, let's try and do that. Dahan-dahan. The very first thing we should do is write the elements. So let me write the elements of A. Okay, next, union. So let me write union here. Just be very careful. Next, let's write this group with, don't forget the parentheses. Importante yan because we know uunahin natin tong part na to. Then let's write the elements of B. Okay, B done. Then let's get the intersection. Be careful with the symbols, baka malito ka. So let's write the elements of C this time. So copy from the top. And don't forget, let's end this with the parentheses. Now, according to our rules, PEMDAS or GEMDAS, solve first whatever is inside the parentheses muna. So in this case, we should get this kasi ito yung parentheses. Get the intersection. So what do we do with 1, 2, 3, 4? Copy muna, tsaga-tsaga lang. Okay, notice, tinatapat-tapat ko yung numbers with our previous line. The reason is para I'll make sure na wala akong mamimiss. It's a good habit to do that. Okay, next. So let's get this time the intersection. Ano na nga ibig sabihin ng intersection? It means common. So let's write the common elements of these two sets. So let's check at 3. Is 3 common? Hindi po. Is 4 common? No. Is 5 common? No. Is 6 common? Nako, wala. 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 7, 8. Therefore, the intersection of B and C is what? It's the null set. Okay, next we continue. Ano na nga ang gagawin natin next? Get the union. So when you say union, it means combine, as you can see here. So doing that, we are combining 1, 2, 3, 4, and the null set. Pag pinagsama sila, I mean, is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so finally, we have the elements of this set. Now, let's do the next one this time. Again, let's try tsaga-tsaga. Write first the elements of this set. So copy the parenthesis sign here, then write the elements of A. Doing that, we have, so ito yon, this is A. Next, union. Let me copy, it's the union. Next, it's B. So let me write the elements of B. That is B. So let's close this with the parenthesis. This time, let's copy the intersection. Naku, be careful lang dito. So we now have parenthesis again. A, writing the elements. Okay, and then don't forget our union there. And then finally, write the elements of C. Okay. Let's get first the elements of these kasi sila yung may mga parentheses. So get the intersection later na. Again, just be very careful. Let me put the equal sign, meaning this line should be equal to this line. Union means combine. So combining these two, again, it's a good habit na unahin natin yung mas mababa para hindi kayo malito. We have 1, followed by 2, then 3, then 4, pinagsasama lang natin kasi combine, then 5, and then 6. And then intersection, union of these two. When you say union, anong gagawin natin? Combine. So combining, we have 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8. Pinagsama kasi union. Finally, we can get the intersection. Anong ibig sabihin ng intersection? Common. So may common ba? Ang 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8. E di isa-isahin natin just to make sure that we won't miss a thing. Okay, so 1 is common. Write that. 2 is common sa dalawa. And then 3 is common. May 3 sa both. Then 4 is common, may 4 sa both. 5 meron dito, naku, wala ng 5 dito. 6 meron dito, wala ng 6 doon. So these are the only common elements of those two sets. Finally, tsaga-tsaga, nakuha din natin ang intersection of these two groups. Now, just like what we did kanina sa first pair of sets, let's compare these two. If you notice, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4 as well. Pareho. Now, kasi meron silang relationship. As you can see, parang sa distributive property that we have shown earlier, A can be distributed to B, A union B, kaya meron tayong A union B. Next, A union C, kaya meron tayong A union C. And then finally, intersection. Kaya intersection ang ginamit. So that's the reason why we have the distributive law of sets. So let's summarize everything. So these are the two distributive laws for set operations. Now let's just review this again. When you are given a group like this one, B union C, and then we're asked to get the intersection of that group by another set, instead of doing this, or another way of doing it is simply distribute. A intersection of B, we use this. That's why we have this. And then, A intersection with C, that's why we have this. And then finally, copy this, you have this. Let's say we're given B intersection with C, this group, the union of this with A. Again, another way of doing this is A union B, distribute that. That's why we have A union B. Next, A union C. That's why we have A union C. And then finally, copy intersection. Copy intersection. I hope, aside from the distributive laws na napag-aralan natin, we were able to practice set operations union and intersection. See you in our next video. Happy solving!